Hey there, adventurer! Thrilled you stumbled into my corner of the internet. If it's your first time here, smash that subscribe button and pass this video along to your crew, your cousins, your cat, whoever. Drop a comment telling me what city or country you're tuning in from. I read every single one like a treasure map. Now buckle up. Let's dive in. A sleek hotel receipt slipped from Trina's gym bag like a whispered confession, embossed with luxury branding. Adam Vale snatched it before it hit the ground, his calloused fingers tightening around the paper as his eyes scanned its contents. 4 nights. Presidential suite. Room 433. The dates perfectly matched the timeline of her so-called wellness retreat. After nearly 20 years of marriage, she didn't even bother hiding the evidence. "Dad?" Sierra's voice cut through his stunned silence. She stood in the kitchen doorway, one strap of her backpack dangling off her shoulder. "Mom left already. She said you'd take me to school." Adam folded the invoice with deliberate care and tucked it into the chest pocket of his work shirt. "Yes, sweetheart. Just give me 5 minutes." Outside, the low rumble of the garbage truck echoed through the street. Joey Russo sat behind the wheel, tapping his wedding band against the steering column, an old reflex from his stint in county jail. 3 years clean, divorced for 2, and still twitchy like a cat in a cage. "You look like someone slipped poison in your morning brew," Joey muttered as Adam climbed in. "You could say that," Adam replied. They tackled their usual route in silence, the kind that gets heavier with every block. Eventually, Joey broke it. "Let me guess. Trina again?" Adam let out a dry, joyless laugh. "Trophy wife, right?" Joey had been calling her that for years. He'd seen through her picture-perfect exterior long before Adam had. In truth, nearly everyone had, except for Adam himself. He was the last one left holding the illusion. "Joey, you ever been inside that Oceantide hotel? The fancy one by the marina?" Joey snorted. "Me? Please? Why?" Adam pulled the folded receipt from his pocket and passed it over. Joey whistled low. "Damn. Either she won the lottery, or she's spending someone else's. You sure this is what it looks like?" Adam didn't answer. His eyes were fixed on the line that haunted him now, room 433. They finished the morning route ahead of schedule. When Joey dropped Adam off at his battered old Chevy, a truck Trina had always mocked, he gave him a look filled with quiet understanding. "You want company? For what?" "For whatever comes next." Adam turned the ignition. "I'm just going to ask her about it." Joey gave a short laugh. "Right. Make sure you smile for the mugshot." The Oceantide smelled like money and carefully curated lies. Adam had never been inside before, but now he understood why Trina had picked it. Marble floors gleamed beneath crystal chandeliers. Gold accents framed every surface. A soft floral fragrance hung in the air, like perfume sprayed over wrought. Adam, in his work boots and coveralls, stood out like grease on silk. The elevator glided silently to the 4th floor. His heartbeat drummed against his throat as he walked the plush hallway. 429, 431, 433. He leaned his ear to the door. Inside, Trina's voice rang out, breathy, animated, charged with a joy he hadn't heard in years. Then came a man's voice, deep, confident, and unmistakably intimate. Adam's hand found the doorknob. It turned without resistance. The suite was exactly as advertised. Sweeping views of the harbor, a king-sized bed draped in Egyptian cotton, champagne resting in ice near the foot of the bed. And there she was, Trina, completely naked, wrapped around a man Adam didn't recognize. The stranger had sharp cheekbones, slicked back hair, and a watch that probably cost more than Adam's truck. His smirk radiated the smugness of someone used to getting away with everything. "What the hell?" the man barked. Trina didn't freeze in embarrassment. She exploded in fury. "What are you doing here? Get out, Adam, now!" The man, Leo, according to the monogrammed robe carelessly tossed over a chair, scrambled for his pants. "Listen, buddy," he stammered. "This isn't what it—" Adam's fist cut him off mid-lie. It landed squarely on Leo's mouth, sending him crashing into the champagne stand. Ice and glass clattered to the marble floor as both men went down in a heap. It wasn't cinematic. No slick moves, no one-liners. Just two aging men brawling wild and sloppy on polished stone. "Stop it!" Trina shrieked. "Somebody call security!" Leo managed to crawl backward, clutching his shoulder. "You're insane, man! I'm calling the police!" Adam, breathless and seething, glared at him. "Go ahead. I'd love to hear you explain all this." But Leo was already punching numbers into his phone. Within minutes, security arrived. Two burly men who looked like ex-bouncers, followed closely by two uniformed officers from the Baltimore Police Department. Adam ended up face down on the floor, wrists cinched behind him with zip ties. "He attacked us!" Trina wailed, now wearing Leo's shirt like a stage costume. She was already morphing into the victim, as if the role had always been waiting for her. "He barged in and assaulted the man I had over," she told them. "Him? A guest?" Adam's laugh was hollow, laced with the metallic taste of blood on his tongue. "Is that the label we're going with now?" The cops had no interest in digging through the mess of a marital dispute. To them, Adam looked like just another sanitation worker who had no business being in a luxury hotel suite. That was enough for them to form an opinion. They booked him, and he spent the night downtown, locked in a holding cell surrounded by noisy drunks and small-time offenders venting their frustrations. Oddly enough, he didn't feel out of place. Rain began falling as he exited the precinct the next morning. His truck was still parked a few blocks from the hotel, but at that moment it felt irrelevant. When he eventually pulled into the driveway of his own home nearly 6 hours later, he discovered the locks had already been changed. His key turned uselessly in the door, catching on nothing. Taped above the handle was a note, instantly recognizable by Trina's looping handwriting. "Adam, what you did was dangerous and reckless. I filed for a restraining order. Do not reach out. Do not come back. My lawyer has been notified." He remained in the driver's seat, unmoving, eyes fixed on the house through the windshield. A few neighbors peeked from behind their curtains, trying to act inconspicuous. The Hendersons next door were seated on their porch with steaming mugs, watching the scene unfold like it was their favorite morning program. He could practically hear the phones ringing house to house as word spread. His phone buzzed. "Joey, heard you made it on the morning news." Adam, "What are you talking about?" Joey, "Local channel ran the arrest log. Didn't list names, just said sanitation worker arrested for assault in luxury suite. But it's not hard to connect the dots." Adam slumped forward, resting his forehead on the steering wheel. "I'm completely screwed." Joey, "Maybe. Or maybe it's the kick in the teeth you needed." 20 minutes later, Joey pulled into the driveway in his beat-up sedan, holding a plastic bag filled with clean clothes and a sad-looking gas station sandwich. "You're staying with me until you figure your crap out." "I can't." "You will. Sitting here sulking won't undo a damn thing." They made the drive in silence to Joey's place, just a small apartment above a laundromat. It was simple, unpretentious, and clean. No illusion, no pretending. Joey popped open 2 beers and tossed one to Adam. "So, you gonna tell me what happened?" Adam reached into his pocket and pulled out the hotel receipt. "Flip it over." Joey turned it in his hands. Near the bottom, printed faintly, was a name, Leonardo Drummond, along with what looked like a member ID or rewards number. "So what? That's him. That's the guy. And what do you plan on doing with that?" Adam took a long swig of beer. Not sure. Yet, at the Baltimore Public Library, free internet was a lifeline. Adam had never been much of a tech guy, but desperation sharpened focus. Within 2 hours, he'd unearthed more about Leonardo Drummond than the man probably remembered himself. Drummond was 41, a hotel executive managing 3 properties, one of which was called Ocean Tide. No kids, twice divorced. Owned a high-rise condo downtown, a beach house in Rehoboth, and a few rentals out in the suburbs. Credit spotless. Portfolio diverse. Business ventures plentiful. Also, a few civil suits from former staff alleging inappropriate conduct. Adam took note. Joey returned with 2 steaming cups from the library cafe. "Your boy's a seasoned dirtbag," Adam muttered. "He's done this before." "Not shocking. So what now?" "I don't know. I just want to know what I'm dealing with." Joey slid into the chair beside him. "Mind if I poke around too?" "Be my guest." Joey's hands moved quickly over the keyboard. "You learn a few tricks when you've done time," he said with a smirk, "like how to dig through public records." 10 minutes later, Joey let out a low whistle. "Take a look at this. Leo's got some interesting connections." He pointed to the screen. It was a property deed for one of Leonardo's rental houses. Another name was listed as co-owner, Patricia Marsh. The address listed was familiar. It was where Trina's sister lived. "Small world," Adam muttered. "Smaller than you think. Check this next one." Joey pulled up another document, a business registration. The company name was Wellness Coaching Solutions, LLC. Owners, Trina Vale and Patricia Marsh. Date of filing, 6 months ago. Adam blinked at the screen in disbelief. "She started a company, using your money," Joey said, his tone slow and deliberate. "Let me guess, you pay all the bills?" Adam said nothing. "She built her little empire off your paycheck. And probably had her little affair along the way." Adam gathered every piece of documentation he'd collected and printed them out. As the pages piled up, a disturbing pattern emerged, a carefully constructed web of deceit that stretched back far longer than he'd initially suspected. This wasn't a careless fling. It was a methodical, premeditated escape plan. "You see what this means, right?" Joey said as they walked back toward his pickup. "That I've been an idiot?" Adam replied. "No," Joey said firmly. "It means she's been planning her exit for quite some time. And if that's the case, she's left clues behind. People who plan things this thoroughly always do." Adam's phone buzzed in his hand. A message from Sierra appeared on the screen. "Dad, can we talk?" "Meet me at Mario's after school." Adam glanced at Joey. "My daughter wants to meet." Joey gave him a pointed look. "Good. Kids notice more than we give them credit for." At Mario's diner, Sierra sat alone in a booth near the window. Though she was only 17, her expression carried the weight of someone much older. She had Adam's sharp gaze and rigid jawline, but the way she concealed her emotions, that was all Trina. "Dad, I have to tell you something," she said as he slid into the seat across from her. "Go ahead," he prompted. "Mom's been talking to her friends about you." "What kind of things?" Sierra pulled out her phone. "She thought I wasn't listening. But the walls aren't soundproof. I recorded one of her calls." She tapped the screen, and Trina's voice echoed between them, icy, dismissive, and cutting. "Adam's pathetic. He still thinks this marriage is real. I'm just waiting for the right moment to end it." Adam felt his stomach turn as the taste of his coffee turned bitter. "There's more," Sierra whispered, scrolling again. "I found her old phone. The one she said was broken? It still had voice recordings saved on it." She played another clip. This time, Trina was with Leo. Their voices were low and conspiratorial, almost gloating. "He has no clue. After all these years, he still trusts me. It's sad, really." "When are you going to tell him?" Leo asked. "Never. I want him to figure it out on his own. It's cleaner that way. Let him think it's his fault." Adam slowly set his cup down, his hands shaking. "How long have you known?" he asked her. "About Leo?" 3 months, but I knew Mom was planning to leave way before that." "Why didn't you come to me?" Sierra's eyes welled with tears. "Because I didn't want it to be real. I kept hoping she'd change her mind, that maybe she'd stay." They fell into silence. Around them, life carried on as usual. Waitresses refilled coffee cups, couples laughed, teenagers whispered across booths. But to Adam, it all felt distant, like he was watching a world he no longer belonged to. "What are you going to do?" Sierra asked softly. "I'm not sure yet. But whatever it is, I need you to stay out of it." "I want to help," she insisted. Adam studied her face. When had she grown up? When had she become this perceptive, this strong? "I may not be the good guy in all this," he warned her. Sierra didn't look away. She stopped being the good guy a long time ago. For 2 days, Adam did nothing but think. He crashed on Joey's couch, ignored the legal threats coming in from Trina's attorney, and stared endlessly at the damning material spread out across the coffee table. Voice notes, multiple hotel receipts, and financial statements that laid out betrayal in black and white. On the third morning, Joey stood by the kitchen counter with a mug in hand. "You planning to live on that couch?" he asked. "I'm still working through it," Adam muttered. "You'd better work faster," Joey replied. "Every day you stay silent is another day she controls the story." He was right. By now, the neighborhood probably thought Adam was some angry husband who snapped, and those who didn't believe it were just waiting for more dirt to surface. It was over a cup of cheap coffee and a hardened donut that Adam made his decision. "I need to borrow your laptop." "What for?" "I'm going to say what no one else will." The truth. He compiled a list. Trina's relatives, colleagues, even her growing base of social media followers. Everyone who had been sold the flawless narrative she'd built. Then he drafted a simple email. "I'm attaching a few recordings I think you should hear. You can draw your own conclusions. Adam Vale." No venting, no name-calling, just evidence. He hit send and waited. It didn't take long. The replies started flooding in. Notifications buzzed across his phone like an alarm going off. The first call came from Patricia, Trina's older sister. "Adam, what the hell am I listening to?" "What do you think it sounds like to you?" "It sounds like my sister is throwing her entire marriage away for some guy who runs a hotel." "Well, that's exactly what's happening." Patricia didn't reply at first. The silence between them was long and weighty. "I'm sorry," she finally said. "I didn't realize things had deteriorated this far." "Neither did I." Then Adam's phone started ringing nonstop. One call after another came in. Trina's friends from the gym, women from her book club, even her mother reached out. Some expressed sympathy, others seemed more interested in gossip than offering comfort. But all of them had listened to the recordings, Trina's voice, unmistakably her own, speaking in a cold, dismissive tone that couldn't be denied or explained away. Another buzz. A new call. Adam picked up without checking the ID. Trina's voice exploded on the line before he could get a word in. "How dare you? Those recordings were meant to be private." "Oh, the ones where you plotted to publicly disgrace me?" "In our own house." "You had no right to release them." "I had every right." "You wanted to blow up this marriage. Fine. But you don't get to control the narrative after you strike the match." She hung up on him without another word. Not long after, Joey's phone rang. It was his cousin who worked at the hotel. "Hey, that Leo guy? He's been suspended. Corporate received those recordings this morning." For the first time in years, Adam felt something unfamiliar stirring inside him, a sense of justice, of release, a flicker of satisfaction. He was having breakfast with Joey when his daughter called. "Dad," Sierra said urgently, "something's happened to Mom." "What are you talking about?" "She collapsed at work. They've taken her to the emergency room." Adam broke nearly every traffic rule on the way to Baltimore General. Joey was in the passenger seat, muttering about strokes and heart failure caused by stress. They found Sierra waiting near the entrance, looking frightened and far too young. "The doctors said it was a type of stroke," she told them. "Not a typical one. They called it vasospasm, something to do with the blood vessels in her brain tightening up from anxiety." "Will she recover?" Adam asked. "They don't know yet. She can't move her right side at all." Through the observation window, Adam watched Trina lying motionless in the hospital bed. The harsh lighting made her appear small and frail. Machines beeped steadily around her, tracking a body that had finally crumbled beneath the weight of deceit. "It's not your fault, Dad," Sierra said, noticing the tension in his face. "Isn't it, though?" he asked quietly. "No, she brought this on herself." Roughly an hour later, Leo arrived at the hospital, looking disheveled and panicked. He attempted to get past the nurse to enter Trina's room. "I'm her partner," he said urgently. "Are you her husband?" the nurse asked. Leo hesitated, then glanced across the room toward Adam. "No." "Then I'm sorry. Only immediate family is allowed at this time." Adam watched him begin pacing in the hallway. The polished, self-assured hotel manager was gone. replaced by a man who suddenly understood that this wasn't just some romantic fling. The fallout was real and permanent. "Dad," Sierra whispered, tugging at his sleeve, "the doctor wants to speak with you." Dr. Williams looked like a woman used to delivering grim news, mid-50s, exhausted, but calm. "Mr. Vale," she began, "your wife's condition has stabilized, but the situation remains critical. The vasospasm has resulted in partial paralysis on her right side. With significant rehabilitation, physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech support, she might recover most of her abilities. But it will be a long road. Months, possibly years." "What caused this?" Adam asked. "Severe emotional stress. It can provoke this type of neurological response. Has she been under unusual pressure lately?" Adam almost laughed. "You could say that." The doctor continued. "We'll also need to go over her recovery plan, therapy sessions, treatment approvals, and insurance matters. The red tape is extensive." "How bad is it?" "Well, Mrs. Vale isn't the primary holder on the insurance policy. You are, which means all major decisions regarding her care need your consent." Adam went cold. He began to remember the endless documents he'd signed over the years, insurance forms, mortgage paperwork, tax filings. So many things she'd orchestrated in the background as she quietly prepared her exit. But now it was clear, for all her careful planning, she'd left the final safety rope in his hands. A few days later, during one of his visits to the hospital, a courier arrived with an envelope. Divorce papers. Inside the room, Trina lay silent, unable to speak clearly. Her eyes followed Adam as he walked in, holding the envelope in his hand. "Hi, Trina," he said evenly. She tried to respond, but only a faint, slurred breath escaped her lips. "I received the legal documents from your attorney," Adam went on, lowering himself into the chair beside her bed. "Interesting read, to say the least." "You want half the assets, spousal support, and exclusive rights to the house?" Adam asked, his voice low and measured, eyes narrowing with disbelief. Trina's hand clenched involuntarily at her side. "Well," Adam went on, calm as ever, "I've been doing a little homework myself." He straightened, setting a leather folder on the table between them. "You remember that company you and your sister launched? The one you funded by quietly draining our joint account?" He gave a brief, pointed smile. "That's going to be a problem." He unlatched the folder and removed a document from the top. "I also had a chat with a lawyer over at Legal Aid. Maryland divorce law has a few details I think you might have overlooked." Adam handed her the sheet and waited as her eyes scanned the page. "That's a forensic accounting report," he said. "It outlines where every dollar went. Money funneled into your business, hotel charges, upscale dinners. All while I've been paying the mortgage, utilities, and insurance by myself." Trina's face drained of color as she took in the numbers. "And there's something else you might have missed," Adam continued. "In this state, adultery isn't just emotional, it has legal weight, especially when it's financed with shared resources." He handed over another page. "Oh, and do you recall those health insurance forms you insisted I sign? The ones that made me the primary because of my job's benefits?" He paused for effect. "That little detail gives me medical power of attorney in case anything ever happens to you." Trina stiffened in her chair, panic flashing across her features. "Relax," Adam said evenly. "I won't interfere with your care. But rest assured, whatever happens next, you'll receive exactly what you've earned." He stood adjusting his jacket. "By the way, your lover Leo stopped by yesterday. Did you know he's been put on leave? Something about inappropriate behavior with hotel guests. Looks like his employer doesn't tolerate that kind of thing." Adam stepped toward the exit, then glanced back. "And one more thing, Trina, I'm not moving out. This house, it's mine now." 3 weeks after Trina's stroke, Adam was just leaving the hospital as visiting hours ended when he saw Leo standing by the edge of the parking lot. "We need to talk," Leo said, stepping forward to block his path. "No, we don't," Adam replied bluntly. "You think you're so clever," Leo growled, closing the distance between them. Adam could smell the alcohol on his breath. Playing the victim, poisoning people's opinions of me. Victim? Adam gave a sharp laugh. All I did was reveal the facts. You've destroyed my career, dragged my name through the gutter. No, Adam corrected, eyes calm. You did that the second you started sleeping with my wife. Leo swung a fist, slow and sloppy. Adam sidestepped it with ease, grabbed his wrist, and used Leo's own momentum to drive him into the side of a nearby car. The vehicle's side mirror snapped off on impact, splintering with a loud crack. You broke my nose, Leo moaned, cupping his bloodied face. You broke my marriage, Adam said, his voice like ice. Two men emerged from a black SUV nearby, both wearing matching tracksuits, gym bags slung over their shoulders. They looked like Leo's backup. They approached with swagger, posturing like men used to throwing their weight around. But Adam had been training at Joey Russo's gym for the past month. No fancy combos, just clean footwork, fast reactions, and solid punches. The first guy rushed at him with a wild swing. Adam ducked, drove an uppercut straight into his gut, and watched him collapse, breathless. The second man hesitated for a beat too long. That's when Joey appeared, calm and deliberate, a tire iron resting casually over his shoulder. Everything all right here? He asked, his voice level, gaze unblinking. The second man suddenly remembered somewhere else he needed to be. Leo remained slumped against the car, blood leaking from his nose. This isn't finished, he snarled. Oh, it's over, Adam said coldly. Your job's gone. Trina's in rehab. The show's done. I'll sue you for assault. Adam gestured toward the hospital's security cameras. Be my guest. I'm sure the footage clearly shows who threw the first punch. Leo limped away, helped along by his shaken companions. Adam stood quietly, strangely at ease as he watched them retreat. Solid right hand, Joey said with a grin. Thanks, Adam replied. How'd you know to come? Sierra rang me, Joey said. She had a bad feeling something might happen. Adam glanced up at the hospital's upper floors, his thoughts drifting. His daughter had called Joey, worried about him? When had he become someone people were concerned about? It could have ended right there, but Leo made one final foolish move. Instead of quietly licking his wounds, he went public. The very next morning, a post appeared on his Instagram. He uploaded a picture showing his nose bandaged in gauze, paired with an attention-grabbing caption accusing a crazy husband of launching a savage, unprovoked attack. He tagged the hotel where the incident occurred, multiple nearby businesses, and even Trina's personal social media account. But his effort to frame himself as the victim quickly began to unravel, loudly and publicly. Within a few short hours, his comment section was flooded. Internet users who had already listened to the now infamous leaked recordings of Trina began weighing in. Screenshots of her incriminating voice messages circulated rapidly. People started recounting troubling stories about Leo's behavior at the hotel and dissected every facet of the affair with the merciless precision only the internet can summon. Someone even put together a TikTok clip that overlaid Trina's infamous quote, "He still thinks this marriage means something," on slow-motion footage of devastated husbands staring blankly out of rain-covered windows. It surpassed 2 million views in less than 24 hours. Adam sat next to Joey, watching the digital wildfire spread on his laptop screen. The speed of it all left him stunned. "This doesn't even feel real," he murmured. Joey shook his head. "No, this is justice finally catching up. 20 years ago, guys like Leo could destroy lives and never face consequences. Not anymore. The internet doesn't forget." Just then, Adam's phone rang. A reporter from the Baltimore Sun was calling to request an interview for an in-depth article on the now explosive adultery scandal. Adam declined. A second call followed, this time from a producer at a national talk show. He turned that one down too. Then a literary agent who specialized in true crime memoirs reached out, intrigued by the story. Adam refused her offer as well. "You do realize there's money to be made here, right?" Joey asked. "I'm not interested in profiting from this," Adam said quietly. "I just want to close this chapter and move forward." "Then stop answering the phone," Joey advised. "Let them find someone else to obsess over." But the story wouldn't go away. It had a life of its own now. The fallout hit quickly. Leo was summarily dismissed from his position at the hotel after the online uproar. Trina's deals with sponsors and brand partners dried up almost immediately. Fitness companies wanted nothing to do with her public image. Even the rehabilitation facility where she was receiving care asked Adam to make other arrangements, citing the disruptive media attention. Adam felt trapped, swept into a whirlwind of public scrutiny he never invited. Somehow, he'd become the reluctant centerpiece of a national spectacle he never intended to participate in. The breakthrough came from an unexpected place: his daughter Sierra. Her high school was preparing for its annual speech competition, and this year's topic was Truth and Consequences. Sierra had been chosen to represent her class. "I want to talk about betrayal," she told Adam during dinner at Mario's diner. "I won't name names. I just want to talk about what happens when people choose selfishness over their own family." "That's a pretty heavy subject for a school project," Adam said, raising an eyebrow. "It's a heavy subject for a household, too," she replied. He watched as she scribbled notes onto the backs of napkins, her concentration fierce, her phrasing intentional. "When did you get this wise?" he asked with a faint smile. "What's the message going to be?" "That the truth eventually comes to light," Sierra said. "And when it does, the people who were honest from the beginning are the ones still standing." The event was held in the school auditorium on a Thursday evening. Adam sat quietly in the last row, trying not to draw attention, though he recognized a few familiar neighbors in the audience. Word had spread about what Sierra's speech would be about. When it was her turn, she stepped up to the microphone with calm confidence. She paused, glanced over the crowd, and began. "My generation gets called a lot of things: spoiled, naive, irresponsible. But there's one truth we understand more clearly than most adults. Nothing you post ever truly disappears." She spoke powerfully about honesty in the digital age, how secrets are hard to hide when everyone has a smartphone. She made a distinction between protecting someone's dignity and helping them cover up lies, between guarding someone's privacy and quietly enabling damage. Though she never named anyone or cited any specific events, her point was unmistakably direct. "When grown-ups choose lies over integrity," she said in her closing lines, "they don't just hurt their spouses. They teach their children that love is conditional, that loyalty is disposable, and that family is just another word people use when it suits them." Applause erupted instantly and thunderously. In the back row, Adam felt tears streaming down his face before he even realized he was crying. Outside in the parking lot afterward, Sierra caught up with him. "Well," she asked with a grin, "how'd I do?" "You were amazing," he replied, voice thick with emotion. "Do you think Mom would have been proud?" Adam hesitated. The woman he'd married nearly 20 years earlier? She absolutely would have. The person she'd become, the one currently lying in a rehab facility, recovering from a stroke brought on by stress? She might not even notice. The part of your mother who deserved respect? Yes, she would have supported this. The divorce mediation unfolded inside an uninspired office suite in downtown Baltimore. Trina appeared via video call from the rehab facility, her speech sluggish but still understandable. Leo, unsurprisingly, didn't show up. Trina's attorney, Patricia Kane, poised, elegant, and dressed with precision, outlined her client's terms: half the equity in the house, a cut of Adam's retirement plan, and 5 years of spousal maintenance. Representing Adam was David Park, a tired-looking legal aid attorney. Without a word, he slid a hefty binder across the table, accompanied by a forensic financial breakdown. "Mrs. Vale used joint marital funds to finance an affair," he explained in an even tone. "In the state of Maryland, that constitutes marital misconduct, which directly affects how assets are distributed." Kane barely flinched. "My client's health crisis was brought on by years of psychological abuse during the marriage." "Psychological abuse?" Park repeated, raising his phone from the table. "You mean informing mutual friends and family that she was cheating on him? That's not abuse. That's called telling the truth." The negotiation dragged on for over 3 exhausting hours. By the end of it, Trina was left with the clothes she owned, her car, provided Adam agreed to keep up the loan payments, and just enough money to complete her treatment. Adam kept the house, full control of his pension, and most significantly, primary custody of their daughter, Sierra. "This isn't what justice looks like," Trina whispered tearfully through the webcam. "Justice?" Adam leaned closer to the screen. "You tried to ruin my reputation in public, demanded half of everything I earned, and left our daughter for a man who bailed the second things got hard. This isn't justice. This is mercy." Once the lawyers cleared out, Adam stayed behind, sitting in the stark, impersonal conference room, staring down at the paperwork that marked the end of nearly 20 years of marriage, reduced now to numbers and negotiated terms. His phone buzzed. A message lit up from Sierra. "How did it go?" "It's over," he replied. "Good. Joey's cooking. Come home." Home. Joey's place had become a quiet refuge for him. Not forever, perhaps, but for now it was a space where honesty wasn't punished and where loyalty still meant something. Adam gathered the documents, stepped out into the noise of the city, horns honking, construction drills roaring, people passing by in their own chaos. Somewhere nearby, Leo was likely plotting his next conquest, charming another unsuspecting woman. Somewhere else, Trina was learning to walk again, to speak clearly, and to face the wreckage she'd created. But none of that was Adam's concern anymore. For the first time in years, his life was his to manage. 6 months passed. Adam was crouched under his kitchen sink, his kitchen now, no questions asked, installing a replacement fixture when the doorbell rang. He stood, wiped his hands, and looked through the peephole. It was her. Trina stood on the porch, thinner, her complexion pale, her right arm hanging stiff at her side. But what struck him most was her body language, uncertain, even apologetic. "What do you need, Trina?" "I'd like to talk." "We already did. At mediation, through attorneys. Just give me 5 minutes." Though every instinct told him not to, he opened the door. She stepped into the house she had once designed and redesigned, scanning the space as though she were a stranger now. "You've taken good care of it," she said softly. "Yeah. I heard you're seeing someone." Adam didn't respond. That part of his life was no longer up for discussion with her. "I know things got complicated between us," she continued. "Complicated?" He let out a short, bitter laugh. "You calculated the destruction of our marriage and tried to take everything from me. That wasn't messy. It was intentional. I made terrible choices," she admitted. "And well, you made yours." "No," he corrected her. "You made decisions." I reacted. Her voice cracked. "Everything's gone. My business, my brand deals, even my name. Leo won't answer my calls. What did you expect? That he'd stick around once you became an inconvenience? I thought maybe people would understand. That sometimes marriages just collapse." Adam held her gaze, calm and distant. "They do," he said. "They collapse. Betrayal isn't a misstep. It's a conscious act." They stood without speaking, the silence stretching between them. From where Adam stood on the porch, he could make out the easy hum of life next door, the Hendersons chatting as they tended to their flower beds, grounded in a world built on decency and routine. Adam turned to face her. "Why are you really here?" "I want to come back," Trina murmured. Her words lingered in the space between them, the way smoke hangs in the air long after the fire is gone. Adam studied her, this woman who had once been his wife, who had shared his life, his home, his child, the same woman who had treated his public disgrace like a negotiation tactic. "Come back," he repeated, the words hollow. "I think we could try again. Maybe counseling," she offered. "I'm not the same person anymore." He gave her a hard look. "You've changed because you were exposed. Because the man you left me for bailed. And because sponsors don't exactly line up for a fitness guru who can't lift her arm above her head." A flush of crimson climbed up Trina's face. "You don't have to be cruel. It's not cruelty. It's reality. You might want to get reacquainted with it." "I came to apologize." "No, you came because your fallback option failed, and now you're hoping I'll carry the weight again." Her facade slipped, Her voice sharpened with anger. You smug prick. You think standing here like this makes you righteous? That letting everything fall apart turns you into some kind of saint? I didn't destroy anything, Adam replied calmly. I just stopped insulating you from the consequences of your own choices. I gave you nearly 20 years, she hissed. And I gave you 18 years of truth you met with 18 years of betrayal, he said coldly. Suddenly she lashed out, her left hand swinging toward him in rage. Adam caught her wrist mid-motion, firm, unflinching. He held it until her anger dissolved and her eyes softened with grief. I could have taken everything, she whispered, as tears streaked her cheeks. If I'd been smarter. If I'd played my cards better. But you weren't, he said. Because people who think they're always the cleverest ones usually aren't. He released her wrist and turned back toward the door. You should leave. Sierra's due home soon and she doesn't need to walk into this mess. Trina inhaled shakily, dabbed at her tears, and straightened her blouse with trembling hands. At the threshold, she stopped and glanced over her shoulder. You'll regret this one day. When you're old and alone, you'll wish you had taken me back. Adam met her gaze for a long moment. Maybe, he said, but I'd rather age with dignity than live one more day wrapped in your lies. He watched her walk the stone path to her car, no longer the luxury SUV she once boasted, but a modest, unremarkable sedan. She fumbled with her keys, her right hand still stiff and clumsy. As she pulled away, Adam felt something stir in him, pity, perhaps. Not enough to undo his decision, but just enough to remember that once, before pride devoured everything, they had loved each other. His phone buzzed. A message from Sierra. On my way. Joey's staying for dinner. Please don't poison us again like last week. Adam chuckled and headed back to the kitchen. The sink still needed attention. Joey would arrive with bad jokes and cheap beer. Sierra would moan about calculus homework. Real-life things, messy but honest. Problems that didn't require attorneys or wiretaps. He grabbed the wrench and knelt beneath the sink. Outside, the noise of Baltimore carried on. But inside, for the first time in a long while, there was peace.